All right. Well, Strider, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I think I mentioned to you this before we started recording, but this is the first Zoom podcast of Don't Panic, We're All Gonna Die. So,
dude, happy to freaking be here. Stoked. Couldn't agree more. We all will die one day, guaranteed. And yeah, dude, I'm just all about freaking staying stoked and having fun in the meantime. So I'm fired up to be here, dude. I think it's gonna be fun, dude. Thanks for having me.
Sure thing. And I couldn't agree with you more. Also, just wanted a disclaimer. I'm able to cut around this normally, but I live on a super busy street. So if you hear anything going by, I'm not under attack or anything. I just have the cars driving by all day. So
we're in LA, baby. We're in LA, baby. I know you're in Santa Monica, dude. People are zipping by, dude. Probably a helicopter's gonna come overhead,
Yeah.
It's this is city living. So it's all good. My dog will probably bark at some point, dude. He's got anxiety, dude. You want to talk about anxiety, dude? Dude, me and my Dank fiance got a full-on LA level dog, dude. Rescue, thank you very much. There's the badge. Subtle drop, what up? Also, he's anxious, dude. He's anxious. He has a little anxiety blanket. He goes to the couch, but he's doing better, dude. He used to not be able to walk through doors. Now he goes out, dude. He's bold. He has his own territory. He feels good. And he's still afraid of stuff, but he'll run into a bus head on. Doesn't care, dude.
Damn, I love that for Sonny. We might have to have him come on another episode then. It sounds like he has some experience with this stuff.
Oh, he does, dude. He used to live in jail, dude. He lived in doggy den. He was in jail, dude.
Well, he's out now. We're happy to have him here.
Hell yeah, dude.
Well, cool, man. So I guess a good place to start. I just wanted to start off. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your story, kind of how you got into. So I know you have a podcast, History's Dank. I know that you're featured on several other podcasts. You have a lot going on stand-up comedy wise, but I'm just curious, where did you get your start? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about where you're from and where your interest in comedy came from, and we could just kind of take it from there.
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, I grew up in SoCal, San Juan Capistrano, and went to UC San Diego. I played volleyball, so I was either going to go to NYU or UCSD, but I was too lazy to pack. And plus, I like the weather out here. I was like, nah, dude, I'm not going to New York, dude. I'm going to San Diego. And some of my boys were going down there too. So I was like, let's go keep the party rolling. And it was nice. And then while at UC San Diego, like 2 years into volleyball, I was like, man, I was a decent player, but it's like, I'm not going to go pro. I'm not going to have a career at this. Well, I'm not going to go live in like Lithuania and come off the bench. And nothing against Lithuania. It could be sick as hell, dude, but I wasn't coming off the bench, dude. And I was like, you know what? And then I went to an improv comedy show, just like there's a team called Foosh on campus, like many colleges have a improv club, whatever, dude, and anyone who's listening, who's into college and you're like, UC San Diego socially, dude, sucks. It's not like San Diego State, dude. That's where my fiance met. It's where I met my fiance. She went to San Diego State. And in fact, she was on their improv team. So met the future love of my life. Didn't know it at the time. We were in college, but later came together. And then also I was like, dude, I was going to school right during the financial crisis and like just there a little bit after the financial crisis. And I was like, you know what, man, I don't want to ask myself, what if, I want to just kind of go for it. And, I was pretty good at it and started taking some classes. I'd drive up in the summer and then, would create my schedule to where like I'd have a block of days off where I grew up in, like I mentioned, San Juan. So I could stop halfway at home, go up to LA and then kind of come back. And so it's pretty gnarly, dude. There's a lot of driving, bro, brutal. But you're inspired and inspiration is key. It keeps you going, fuels you, dude, even sometimes wrongfully so. Sometimes you just got to give it up. But I kept going and took like a ton of improv classes, started doing stand-up at the Comedy Store down there in La Jolla. And yeah, man. And then JT, my friggin' best bro, JT was doing comedy in New York. And he's like, he was going to move back to LA and we're like, let's just move into LA together. And that was 10 years ago. And then now we're making moves, dude, doing a little tour and got some exciting projects coming up and, podcasting and then Instagram. I wasn't around. I never thought I would have like following on Instagram, but it's great. It's great. It keeps you busy, keeps you sane rather than having like the actor's disease, which is called waiting around for something to happen. Ooh, but you do have to work on your craft and it is a craft, right? You're in guilds, even though the guild doesn't do shit and I don't qualify for the health insurance, but it's like, you have to have your craft and practice, but at the same time, you got to switch it up and make moves. You can't just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you said, so thank you for that introduction. I think that was a pretty good
Yeah.
encapsulation of kind of where you got to where you are. You said something that I thought was really interesting, which was you said that inspiration fuels you. And I think that's interesting because I think inspiration is like a great start, gets you motivated. At the same time, I do feel like it's like your discipline that carries you through, right?
Yeah.
So like, I think like when people see, I think people there's in the comedy world probably have some recognition of who you are, but they don't really see oftentimes like all the work that took to get there, right? So
Yeah.
how does that look like for comedy? Like how does kind of the roadmap?
They say overnight success takes 10 years. And it's like tons of failure. I would say it's just mainly an exercise in like mining yourself like internally. And you got to really ask yourself, you got to fight two battles, at least with like, stand up. That's why stand up's so great, dude. And anyone thinking about doing comedy, just do live shows. Do as many live shows as you can. Obviously, film sketches and put stuff online and, get a following and do all that. But like, I think, a live audience is really going to be the best thing to train you. And I'm still growing and learning every time I go up. And it's just like, I think comedy is especially great, no matter what your interest is. And I think maybe having my sports background helped with this of like, I had a coach at UCSD that was like, look, you're going to have failure before you're going to have success. You're going to suck. You're going to get up. Like, obviously we think we're funny. Me telling you that I think I'm funny, immediately I'm fighting an uphill battle. It's like, okay, dickhead. All right, now make me laugh. Like, you can't be, oh, I'm the funny guy. All right, clown. And it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, you just need to have surprise and be charming and or whatever your style is. You know what I mean? I don't know. Charm can come in different ways, but subtle, I guess, is a better word. But dude, yeah, man, just tons of failure and being okay with that and growing from it and really, like I mentioned, your craft, going up and having a routine and it's cool because it's on you, and in the Hollywood roadmap, I guess I always had my day job at valet, still do. And I'll work it until I don't have the time to work it. That's what I'm going to do. That's my plan. Like literally until I'm doing creative stuff that doesn't allow me to have that day job, then I'll stop. So
Got
yeah,
it.
man, just being okay with that failure, which is really hard, and you always fail so much, especially in comedy.
Yeah. And
And
like,
failure is experience. It's not bad. Like you say failure, oh, failure. It's like, no, that's growth too.
yeah, I can't agree more. I feel like almost like failure is like not a very good word for what it is at the same time,
Right.
because I think I kind of view failure as more of being like an opportunity for growth myself. But it's funny, we're talking about comedy. It's not something I've talked about on the podcast before, but I've actually done stand-up before. So
Nice.
not like on any like level that would impress anybody. But I do find that like when I tell people that like at a bar, they immediately become like way more interested in me than they were before, just because they want to know the story behind it. But I've done it twice. The first time I ever did it, I was like practicing just in my room. You don't know if it's funny or not. Like I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. I just wanted to kind of like touch it as like an experience and then kind of leave it. And so I went.
You'd be a psycho. You'd be a psycho if you told everyone that you cared about, hey, come watch me do stand up for the first time. Like, what's going on with this guy? He's mental.
Yeah, that would be very masochistic, I suppose.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so I was like practicing. I went and like, I think doing stand up in LA is like different than doing stand up in anywhere else on the planet. Cause like I went being like this some open mic night and it was like everyone before me was like had a Netflix special or they had like all this experience. They've been in TV shows. And then they're like, at the very end, there's like, and here's this fucking guy. And like, I came up and I did it. And I remember I was like, not good, not even decent, but I wasn't bad. And so I kind of had like some false confidence. I was like, that actually didn't go as bad as I expected. If I put some time into this, maybe I could be good. And then I went again and it was like Armenian night. And they were like, hey, it's Armenian night. Like, I'm not sure if you want to go up. It's not really the style. And I was like, no, I got this. And I went up and then for 5 minutes, just bombed, like not a single laugh. And I was like, all right, that's probably my stand-up career right
want
there.
to hear about, dude. I don't know. That's hilarious, dude. That's really funny, man. Yeah. Hey, know your audience. I guess know your audience.
Yeah.
Dude, but yeah, good on you, man. And dude, you prepared, bro. That's literally I'll get emails sometimes, dude, I'm thinking about doing stand up. What's the thing? I'm like, just write. Like, dude, write your 3 minutes, whatever you get, write that down and go up and execute it. It's really going to be, that's your fallback, until you learn to have that like conversation with your audience and stuff and be comfortable. But like, yeah, dude, good on you. And dude, I think people fear public speaking. Look, I love attention so much. I crave it so bad, dude. I really, really want it. I really, really need it. I gotta have it. So that's really what drives me a lot. I need that love. I don't need love from
Yeah.
just one person. I need it from everybody all at once. And if I don't get it, dude, I'm gonna get real grumpy, like hangry. And you know, but dude, the fact that you did it, and I think a lot of people, maybe what I was gonna say is, people feared public speaking a lot. They like, it's like one of the biggest fears. And
Yeah.
I
And
I
spiders.
do definitely get it. I definitely get it. Yeah. And it is nerve wracking. You're being judged, right? You're putting yourself on a stage to be judged. But at the end of the day, also at those open mics, no one gives a shit about you. No one cares. Or I'd go do an improv scene. You're driving in your car. Oh, I should have said that different. Oh, you're brushing your teeth. Oh man, but and then that one joke, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, guess what? You know what? Who's else is thinking about you while they're brushing your teeth? No one on earth, dude. Not even your mom, dude, and she loves you a lot. Dude, no, not even her, dude.
Yeah.
So it's like, we can be our own worst enemies. It truly is a mental thing, but also you got to be funny. You got to have the goods, and that's what I love about it. There's
Yeah.
also there's also nothing worse than someone who's got tons of confidence, is so unfunny, and you're like, the fuck's the deal with this guy? You
Yeah.
know, not
Definitely
writing
been to shows
jokes.
like that.
Someone
Yeah.
who just the dude who like quotes the movies, or says jokes, uses joke rhythm, but's not saying anything funny. Everyone has a coworker. Look at this guy having Mr. Burrito for lunch, dude. Like, what? You're like, there should be a punchline. Like, you should be saying something funny in your tone, but you're not. Yeah, I am having a burrito. Rick, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, that's really funny. I definitely I've seen professional stand-ups comedians that are like that. I'm like, how'd you get up here? Like, how are you performing right now?
Yeah. Like
But
anything in life, nothing's ever based fully on ability. There's other reasons.
totally. But I was gonna ask you, because you were talking about a failure, and then you also were talking about like wanting the validation of the whole room. I guess, how does that work with stand-up? Because like my whole thing about stand-up, and I think where my fear in doing it came from, was I've done, like, I do other stuff, like I do music. You see guitar behind me.
Hell yeah.
If I play a show and it's not good, I could be like, well, maybe it wasn't their taste in music, and it's not personal. Where I feel like with comedy, it's like it's you up there with a mic, and it does feel personal. Do you feel that way? And if so, like, what's kind of your take on that?
Yeah, dude, I think it's it's really funny because you'll hear a lot of comics be like, "Oh, the audience sucks," and there are audiences that are hot, and there's audiences that are a little bit worse for sure. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
like, it's never their fault. Like, they came to have a good time and they're drinking, and like, they're not having a good time because of you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, you also have to be very honest with yourself. I think comedians have to have a very critical eye towards themselves. You have to understand you, which is really tough, which takes a long time to do.
Mhm.
Then how you're perceived by that audience. So I'm this package. What's my point of view? Comedy's point of view. How the hell am I going to present that in a package that's fun and funny and digestible? Um, so it's tough, but like, I think basically, like, when you have a night that's bad, what I do is, I just like, I'm playing more of a heightened version of myself. So I almost look at it kind of from character, where I
Mhm.
can distance myself from it a little bit. It's based on the material I talk about. It's based on my life. It is real. But I'm trying to be funny, and it's not like and I'll be a little bit vulnerable. um Maybe that's why I don't delve into politics and stuff, or too much. Like, I don't really read on it too much, so I don't want to go up and share that opinion. I feel like I'd get ripped apart.
Mhm.
But when it comes to my story and me and stuff, I feel comfortable talking about it, and as long as I can stand by my comedic takes, then I'm totally comfortable. And what I'm saying is funnier than anything else, then it wins, and that's cool. Then people can get offended, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. um, or not laugh, and that's okay too. If I think
Right.
it's funny, if I'm being funny because I think it is, rather than being funny because I think someone else will think this is funny, that's the thing. Like if you're being honest with yourself, oh, I truly find this funny. This is my sense of humor.
Mhm.
People are going to pick up on that. It's innate, like just human nature. You can tell when someone's like, oh man, this will be outrageous. This will get them. And that's like a hacky, hokey bit, you know?
Yeah, totally. When I did my one time doing stand up, there was a guy that lip synced an entire Adele song. And it was like so cringy because it wasn't like original at all. He was just like getting up there lip syncing, trying to be outrageous, and it was just like having to sit through that as like his set was like, you know,
Yeah.
it's a hard thing to stand by.
It's brutal. Look, and hey, anything can play. I mean, that could be funny. Maybe he's got to set it up first or, be ironic. Like maybe he's going for some Charlie Kaufman or what's it called? Some what's the man on the moon dude? Andy Kaufman type shit.
Yeah,
But I don't know.
yeah,
Anything can work. Just
yeah.
got to be honest. It's just got to feel genuine, I guess. And like think about Larry the Cable Guy. He's not like that. That's a character. Jeff Foxworthy. These are characters.
Right.
A lot of people do that. It's heightened.
Mhm. Yeah, totally.
Even when
Uh,
dudes go low, like a Stephen Wright, that energy, it's affectation. People have affectation. There's little performative things that people can latch onto for comfortability.
totally. Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like
Mine's
it's
talking about my dick.
well, we can get into that in a moment here. I
Yeah.
actually just wanted to ask you a question because you talked about playing a character in some regard, and I know that I think maybe how I first heard of you was because you were playing a character. So like, I used to like Vice. I don't really like. I'm
Yeah.
hesitant to say I don't really like Vice anymore, but
Kind of became like cool college person does something that's not really that edgy.
yeah, just in like I started like editing some of their interviews and with it. I don't know, but
Bro,
I
they're trying
do.
to trap you, dude. Dude, I'm telling you right now, bro, I don't trust Vice. And maybe it's because I watched too much Green Street Hooligans, but dude, when they came out to interview me, because I know what you're gonna go to, but like
Yeah.
I was never more nervous. I was like, dude, thinking from comedy, like I need to control the narrative. Like I was like, I know they're gonna try to trap me. And dude, the way they interview you is they'll be like, dude, I'll do it right now for you. I'll be like, hey, Johnny, you do enjoy hosting podcasts?
Yeah, yeah. I enjoy hosting podcasts, and we're all gonna die one day. So
Okay,
you know,
see, okay, look, see right there, dude, how you finish your thought and it was normal. And then in a normal conversation, I would ask you another question. Dude, they sit there. They sit there and then they know you'll feel the need to fill that space. And they'll know that you'll do this. You'll go, you keep the camera on anyone, you're gonna like rub your face or do that. Dude, that can be edited in context to do anything. To
yeah,
mean
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're struggling, to mean like, oh, no big deal, condescending, dude. Like, so I was just all friggin' worried. And bro, they take forever. And they'd ask you like three regular questions, like, what's your favorite shoe? What are you? Oh, you validating that? Oh, how long you been validating? Cool, dude. Do you believe in God? You're like, whoa.
Yeah. And then they also bring you like your friend, like they go around your personal life. You're bringing your friends in, they're doing interviews with them, and you're like, are they going to be cool? What are they going to say about
Oh,
me?
bro, dude, they showed up early, dude. And look, the lady that did it was really nice. The director lady was super cool, ended up being super cool. But like, it's their job too. They're producers, like they want the juice. They want a story. They want, you know, freaking drama. And like they were supposed to come over at like 9. They showed up an hour early. But I knew that they would too. So I already had breakfast for them and I told them like my fiance didn't want to be in the piece. And I was like, cool. She has her own stuff going on, wants to do her own thing. And they like wanted to show up and be like, oh, hey, by the way, you're here. Like, do you mind if we interview? She's like, no, you sure? No, dude. Amazing, bro.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's good for you. I mean, especially like, you know, just in terms of controlling the narrative. But I will say that I think they did you justice because the piece that they did on you. So for listeners, Strider, you were a Joel Osteen impersonator.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this on Spotify or something, you can't see Street Strider, but you do look like Joel Osteen.
Yeah,
And
just Google Joel, dude. You need to
yes, Google Joel Osteen, you'll probably see Strider. But I guess I'm curious how that started. Like, so you kind of became, I guess, infamous in Joel Osteen circles for impersonating this guy and going to events where he was. So how did that happen?
dude, just from birth, bro. God got lazy, he made me in Joel's image. He's like, no, dude, ever since high school, I remember I was in math class and two of my friends came up and they're like, dude, you look like that preacher guy. I'm like, what? You talking about Father Butters, dude? The guy I went to Catholic school. Father Butters, nah, dude, he's like 50. He's chill, but I don't look like him. He's bald. I got this friggin' look at this mane that I got going on here. And they're like, no, go home, put on this channel tonight, and you're gonna see Joel Osteen. I was like, all right. So I did it. And dude, it was like, it weirded me out. It was uncanny. I was like, whoa. And so that was high school. Then fast forward, college, doing comedy, doing stuff at Second City out here in LA and UCB out here in LA, which are like, improv schools and theaters. And, you do tons of characters and stand up. And then, like I mentioned earlier, bro, you got to try some stuff. And I remember people being like, dude, that was ballsy of you, like to go up there. And I was like, nah, that was desperate of me, bro. I was like, dude, I'm still parking cars. Like I booked like, no, I haven't even booked a commercial. I'm not getting on any shows. I'm like, I got to try some shit. And so we're like, let's just go. And JT was like really doing a lot of like fun, innovative, like internet style videos of like going out in public and then like kind of inspired by Nathan For You type stuff,
Handing out masks and Huntington Beach, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like those type of things were like, let's just go to a Joel event and we went with some buddies who had some cameras and they did an amazing job editing it. And JT's really great at like pushing it forward, like directing. Like I was like, bro, I don't want to try to go to the stage. He's like, we have to. Like literally we were just going to go there and try to do some uncharacteristically Joel stuff,
Yeah.
Like we asked for a beer in the video. Like that was basically the whole joke. But
that's my favorite part.
Yeah, that was gold. I know. It's so funny. And they're like, you can't have a beer. I was like, come on. And dude, but then like, dude, there was literally like no skepticism. Like we didn't think people were really going to believe us. Like maybe it was going to be kind of fun, haha, whatever. Literally everybody believed that I was Joel. Every single person. No one doubted it, dude. And we're like, whoa, this is incredible. Dude. I'm like shaking security guards' hands. And then, rest is history. Then we got kicked out of church, bro.
Yeah. Well, so there's a part where you were asking for beer, which was hilarious. Then I think the other part that had me dying was when you were like, I think you went to Echo Park and you were like baptizing people.
Dude, that was with Vice, dude. They were like,
yeah.
See, they were just like, they had the worst ideas. They're like, then you'll put on your Joel suit and you'll just like walk around. And I was like, what? No.
Yeah, I'm gonna baptize a dog.
I'm like, bro, I'm like, there's no context. I'm like, why am I gonna just put on a Joel suit? Like, then I'm like, literally, one dude might be like, oh, hey, Joel, cool. I'm like, that's not gonna be anything. Like, that's gonna make me, because the series was called Famish, and they wanted me to feel like I was famous because I looked like a famous person, and I was like, no. I was like, I'm not out of my mind. Like, I don't feel famous. Like, I still, like, I'm working for tips. Like, I'm still hustling, but like, but then I talked to my buddies and like they're in the video a lot, and it was awesome to have my friends. I was like, basically, this is great exposure. Let's go. We were doing a sketch group at that time and had them come and check that out. My boy Jimmy made a dank meal, dude. And we were like, well, we need, and like, what are we just gonna have me walk around in LA? There's no Joel thing. We just started thinking, we're like, well, we could do like a baptism at the lake. Could be really funny if we can just see if we can baptize someone. And then this dude was down. Probably got like giardia or some whatever virus you get from Echo Park Lake.
I was gonna say that's not clean water.
Nah, dude, you don't definitely want to do that.
Yeah, well, it was a great video. I had a lot of fun watching it. I watched it, do my research before conversation, so I ended up having to watch. I watched the video like 4 or 5 times. It's so funny,
dude. Thank you for watching and hell yeah for doing your research, dude.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, for listeners, if you want to check it out, Joel Osteen, Vice. Just type it in on YouTube or Google, you'll find it. Hilarious video. So the Joel Osteen stuff's really funny. I would like to dig into the comedy a little bit more because I just wanted to understand what it means to you. Like, everyone has their thing, and for you to go to college, I believe you're economics with minor in history.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Technically, I don't have the minor though. I didn't finish my last class, dude. But no one's ever checked, dude. It's made 0 difference.
It's all right. Well, you have a podcast, so I think that probably counts as some type of credit, right?
Dude, if you got a podcast, you're legit, dude. You got a podcast, you show up at Thanksgiving dinner, you go, what up, grandpa? Pass the gravy, I've got a podcast, bitch. Yeah, how about this generation, dude?
Dude, I tried the exact line on my grandpa on Thanksgiving. He didn't think it was very funny, though.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's like, oh, I want to listen to a living room chat, dude. How about a living room pen, dude? Speaking of Boston tea crab, dude, why don't you try to get out, grandpa? Sorry, dude, I'm not condoning violence against grandpas, dude. Just mine.
Yeah, just yours on Thanksgiving for sure.
But you're asking what like comedy means?
Yeah, I guess. Well, like I think that we do things because they're fulfilling for us. But I'm
Yeah.
curious. So, like, just a little bit of context. So, like, I like to write. It's like kind of my thing. And I do it because it's weird because like I talk about this a lot. Like, I don't necessarily like writing, but I like publishing a lot, and I like receiving the feedback for it. And it just like it feels fulfilling. If I do that, then like afterwards for a week or however long it is, I just feel like there's this part of me that's been fulfilled until I need to start writing again. I'm curious if that relates to, if you kind of relate to that at all with comedy, or
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to hear your perspective on like why you do comedy and what kind of value it brings to your life.
Dude, number one, very extrovert, love attention. Two, I was like, dude, maybe even growing up watching my dad work. He was a doctor, dude. I was comfortable growing up, grew up in OC and very fortunate and lucky, but he hated his job. And so
Mhm.
I was like, man, I kind of just want to have a job that I'm stoked to do, that I like doing. And, started just falling in love with comedy and getting after it. And, part of the price you pay is you got to do a ton of jobs you don't love doing and really hustle. But like my end goal that will be fulfilling for me is just being able to make a living. And it doesn't need to be an insane amount. Obviously in entertainment you can do well, but like just be able to make a living for me and my dank ass fiance. Um, you know, doing something that I enjoy doing, getting out of bed for, right? Looking forward to. Tomorrow I get to go make a project with my two best buddies, Chad and JT. And I'm like, that's great. That's what it's all about, dude. So hopefully more of those days will come. And so that's huge for me. And then as far as like um on more of like a day-to-day is like, yeah, dude, when I've got a comedy show coming up, I'm nervous. I always get anxious. If I create something new or shoot a sketch or then go do a set, and then when you're on stage, like everything else that's going on kind of filters out and you're right there and you're in the moment for those 15 minutes or whatever it is that you're on there. And that's rad. And it's such a cool feeling. It's the nerves, the anxiousness. And then, then you have the flip side of like, especially with the pandemic and shit, where you're like, dude, I haven't done anything, which actually I started working on a project with my buddy and I'm fortunate with that. But it's like, sometimes you'll be like, oh, got to do something, man. You start feeling that anxiety. Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
not scratching that creative itch. But then when you create something and do something, you feel really good and relieved, and then you want to celebrate it. And so there are these highs and lows, and like anything you want to find, you don't want to be spiking and peaking too much, but just create a nice little workflow for yourself.
Yeah, totally. And I imagine that like I get like the pandemic, like it's definitely something that's been like I've had a lot of conversations about. Imagine that it's especially difficult for comedians because it's like your entire thing is performing for an audience, and then all of a sudden we're for 2 years. It's like, especially in LA, like you can't have audiences anywhere, so you
I
kind of
know,
have to find a different way to fill that void.
brutal, dude. I didn't do any Zoom shows. Actually, no, I did do like one or two Zoom shows. I did some Zoom character shows, brutal, but fun, good people. And but yeah, dude, mainly it was just like writing some stuff and doing that type of stuff. Honestly, it did help. Like, in Hollywood, there's always the thing where you're like, someone has an idea for you and you're like, that could be sick, which basically means like, nah, dude, I'm never going to do that, but cool. And,
Yeah.
but like Zoom has made it very easy, or like, let's go meet, dude, we should meet up soon. Let's talk about that soon, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, never. But now Zoom has made stuff efficient. And I went and shot like with my boy Jace and my buddy Chris, dude, JT's brother, who's a legend, genius. And we went and like shot a project during COVID, which was really fun. And probably we ordinarily wouldn't have gotten done because we would have been busy with our lives, and we shot it like in the desert. So no one was around. And
Mhm.
but it was cool and it was fun, so just it was definitely tough, but there was some silver lining.
Yeah. And then you have the experience of getting to. I feel like it give you more time to think, or like at least give me more time to think. It kind of slowed things down, and I was able to kind of square in on really what was important for me and like what I wanted to do. And I think like this podcast is results of it. I'm pretty sure you started yours during the pandemic, didn't you?
Dude, yeah, right before, like literally in April, like was getting the ball rolling in March and then dropped them in April. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So let's talk about that. So you started a podcast called History is Dank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess so. What sparked your interest in history,
Dude, I've always been,
Why is
I,
it dank?
dude. Okay, so here's the thing: not all history is dank, of course, dude. We're human. Humans are flawed, and they've been terrible to each other since Cain and Abel, and Adam and Eve, dude. Um, so just kind of just like I've always been interested in history, and I like with my entertainment. I like infotainment. I like if I'm laughing, or I love period piece movies. And like if I read a book, I kind of want it to be on a subject that's sort of, obviously the story has to be good, but I want to be like, and it's so funny because it takes me so long to read. I'm like, I'm going to spend 3 months on this one book. Like it's got to be worth it.
Yeah.
So with my podcast, I was like, the podcasts I like to listen to, they're informational and they're not really that funny. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try to do a funny informational one. And there's a billion topics for history. I was like, let's go. It's not going to be serial at all. I bounce around and do different topics and try to keep it pretty broad and accessible, and mainly funny, sometimes educational, but just the type of it maybe the type of podcast I'd want to listen to. So
Yeah.
and and that's freaking dank as hell.
Yeah, that's a good place to start, is just like figuring out what would I want, do I feel like is missing, and then trying to create it. And
Yeah.
I definitely respect that, because I think for like, at least for me, like in doing this podcast, I was obviously listening to a lot of podcasts, and like the guys that I really respected, I felt like were a little bit older than me. So like I really like Tim Ferriss, I like Brent Holiday, Rick Roll, like those type of guys who are like a little bit more like serious, but like very intelligent. And it's like, I'm not as smart as those guys even a little bit, but like I'm younger, which I don't feel like there's like a lot of like younger guys doing this. And then also like I could be like a little, I'm not as funny as like you, but I could be like a little bit looser. So it's more conversational rather than more interview.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like that about your podcast, because it's like, I like history a lot myself. I like reading, but like I can go into it being like, I'm going to listen to Strider just goof off for a little bit, but I'm also going to learn about the history of vampires, the history of Valentine's Day, or
Bro,
the fucking moon.
That's what I'm talking, dude. Just straight up the moon, dude. Literally, I was talking to my brother about the moon, and we're like, dude, what the hell's going on with this thing, man? Let's just dive in, find out some loose info, dude. And why are our calendars based on this puppy? What's going on, dude? And yeah, just super, super fun, and just sort of these interesting, these like, dude, I always used to get made fun of from my brother because I'd have like a lot of the books that I would have were literally like books that are like from like the New York Public Library, like just quick informational facts. And it's probably because of my improv background, because it's like a great improviser brain is probably like 5 miles wide and like 1 foot deep, because you just really need to have a broad range of things you can talk about, and some like maybe a hair or two, like a B and C step farther. Like if someone's like, oh, you're both scientists, it's like, okay, let me make that more specific. We're biologists, and what are we studying? Okay, now we're going to be studying like ecosystems. Okay, that's part of a biology. We're in the chaparral. It's like, okay, cool. I don't know what a fucking chaparral is or any of those things, but an audience member, they're sort of trusting me at this point. I've said like, I haven't just said the one thing. I've taken it a step farther, and I've made it more specific to who I am now. It's like, so it's all just little tricks like that. Maybe that's why I like getting my info like that. I'm not too precious about it. And it's like, yeah, dude, I would rather have guests that are a lot smarter than me, and be fortunate to have that. And then I can, provide some levity or laughs.
Yeah, that's been my strategy. So I can vouch for its effectiveness.
Yeah, well, not today, dude. You're smarter than me, dude. Nope.
Would you consider yourself a autodidact?
An autodidact?
Yeah.
You say, nah. Yeah. I mean, probably just with listening and stuff. I don't do as much reading as I should, but I basically do all my research. Although shout out to JD Lipinski, he does researching on a lot of episodes, and he's a beast. But yeah, I think you got to be to a degree, but never would I be like, I feel like if you're an autodidact, you got to be like an expert. You got to become an expert,
Yeah.
By no means an expert.
Yeah. And it's not something you like, I don't think I'd ever say to anyone. Like, I want to be like, yeah, I'm not a autodidact, but it's definitely something like, if you spend a lot of time, your free time learning, I think that you're at least kind of one.
Yeah, I agree. Intellectually curious. And you know what? That's a high sign of intelligence, intellectual curiosity.
Yeah.
Cruising around looking for answers.
For
I'm like,
sure.
who am I? Every time I'm on a roller coaster, I ask myself, who am I? And if I go
When you're
down,
going
who
up
am
or when you're coming down?
I? Usually when I go down, who am I? When I
Yeah.
go up, it's like, oh man, I should have lived a better life.
Should have
Was
made
that
better
good? Was that good
choices.
to everyone? Yeah, is the ledger clear? We good?
um, and that's cool though. And I think like you mentioned, like a good improviser, it's like a mile, 5 miles wide, a foot deep, or whatever the analogy was. I love
Mhm.
that. I also think that like for instance, like your podcast, even though it may not be like if you do one on World War II, you're not gonna learn everything about World War II, but
Mhm.
it's like useful for like, let's say you're on a first date with a lady or a man, and they bring up a subject, you could be like, oh yeah, vampires. Did you know that they're based off of Count Dracula, like
Bro,
putting stakes on
exactly.
the Ottomans? Yeah.
Exactly, dude. You can go back. You can talk Vlad the Impaler if you want to, dude. Yeah, exactly. You're just gonna have stuff to go off of. You know what I mean, dude? It's fun, and I like having that type of stuff. And it's gonna just, like you mentioned, you want to have more conversations, just putting stuff in your dome and having it pop or float around. It's fun. It's fun
Yeah.
little light info, heavy tainment, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it is. It's definitely more entertainment than information, but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It has a lot of information for sure, but I think like the entertainment value is definitely there. I like listening. I go on walks like every day. I've been listening to it on my walks just because it's like I don't know. I need to know. I don't need to like be like firing on all cylinders. I can just relax, enjoy it. It's all
Dude, I
good.
love
As
that.
we
And I love
say.
that you have movement, dude. That's a good thing to do is like anytime I'll have like a call for I'm writing this script with a buddy of mine and it's like all and I love having the dog too, is like I'll put my pods in and I'll walk and talk. It's
Oh, of
better
course,
for being creative. Sometimes you're still, you're stagnant. It helps with creative flow. And I think it probably helps in a lot of fields of work. If
totally.
you're trying to, get past a writer's block or, you know, I don't know, whatever project you're working on, get over a
Yeah,
wall.
I couldn't agree more. I hesitate to recommend meditation on this podcast because like I saw something I do myself. I feel like I'm too much of like I get anxious. That's why I started this thing. So
Same,
like
bro.
I need to like exercise, and I feel like walking to me can be very meditative. Like
Mm,
just kind of letting your mind wander. Most of the time I don't take AirPods, but sometimes I do. But like walking, I think anytime I get a phone call, like if someone calls me, I know it's gonna be a phone conversation. Like the AirPods are going in, I'm going for a walk because I think like it helps you clear your head. And I think to your point, it definitely there is some creative juices that start flowing when you're moving your body, especially if
mhm.
you're talking to someone while you're doing it.
Yeah, get that blood pumping. And dude, exercise is clutch, bro. I haven't even been to the gym in 2 years, but I just work out at home. Just got some dumbbells. I love it. I might not ever go back to the gym. I like it. Don't have to, especially in LA, you don't have to commute, bro. It's great. I get mad about walking too far to the gym when I'm gonna go to the gym and like walk and move. It's like my relationship to it, yeah, but man, yeah, I love that. I love that you're doing that. And you know what, dude, meditation doesn't suit my personality either, bro. I'm too my brain goes pretty quick. Sometimes at night, like, you'll have those nights where I'm just like, dude, brain, turn off, just chill.
Yes.
Sometimes that
Oh
can
my
be
God.
good
Yeah.
though. Probably why you like to write. Sometimes that I'll get some good ideas and write stuff down, or I'll be
Mhm.
too lazy to write it. And I'm like, no, not even that good. Mitch Hedberg has a really funny joke about that. He's like, I'll think of something funny in bed, and then I'll think of ways to convince myself that it's not funny, so I don't have to get out of bed to write it down. But that's pretty great.
Yeah, I relate
Um,
to that. Do you ever like put a note in your phone and you're like, oh, this is a great bit. And then like you wake up the next day and it's like 5 words that don't make sense. You're like, what the fuck was I even
Always, dude, you got to
thinking?
finish the thought, bro. Always, you got to go the extra beat. You got to go the extra minute or two of writing it, because otherwise, yeah, I'll be like sandals, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
The hell that means, dude.
Yeah. Dude, I definitely relate to that. So I think I've explained this to you, but a big part of this podcast is because I like to have quality discourse, but I like to talk about things that aren't normally discussed between anybody really. But just kind of want to open up the floor to you.
Yeah, murder
Is there
talk.
anything?
Who are
Is
we
there
taking
anything?
out? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I was
No,
joking.
it's all good.
I said, who are we going to kill? We usually don't discuss these type of things.
I have a few ideas if you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you: is there anything about the world that we live in today that bothers you, or that I guess what's bothering you, and what do you see as a potential solution to that?
Dude, okay. Few things maybe on a lighter side, but
Yeah, please. That's good.
NFTs, dude. I'm not liking them. I don't like it. Um, Cryptocurrencies, I dabble a little bit, but I'm like, dude, and maybe the greater picture for me is like, dude, wealth disparity is so insane where it's like, literally, we want to have a metaverse where it's like, look, I hate my life so much here that I want to buy real estate somewhere virtual where it might be sick to live there. Like, is that what
Yeah.
we're coming to? Where it's like, and none of us are going to own anything, dude. And maybe this is just living in California and LA, but it's like the idea of owning a home to me is insane. People are like, dude, just buy an apartment. You can buy and own your apartment. I'm like, no, I don't want to buy an apartment, dude. I understand that's better than like burning rent money, but just being frustrated at like, where are we at with the American dream? Where are we at? Maybe it's the middle of Nebraska. No, not hating on Nebraska, but it's like ice 8 months, too humid for 3 months, and then 1 month of okay. That's where you can own a home, dude.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess if we're all on Zoom, then cool, then you can have a backyard. But it's like, so that frustrates me. I know that's a little bit of a riff. So maybe with just these NFTs and then also dudes wearing beanies and having beards online talking about knowing NFTs, being like, look, I'm really excited about this space. I'm really excited. And look, I have friends of mine from the .com era, Web 2.0, and got heavy hitters, and
Yeah.
they're starting to really flirt with this stuff. And I'm just thinking, and I'm like, dude, all this guy is doing is he wants my money listening now, and I'm just, I don't know, dude.
No,
Just
I
using.
I like that answer because like I think that it touches on something greater, like NFTs in themselves. It's like I think the technology, there's some interesting things about it, but like it's
It is
kind of so
cool.
the way it's manifested. But I think like to your point, it's like we like the American dream is just in a really tough spot where it's like we just like everybody that I know, it's like we just want like a house so that we can have like a family or something like that. And it seems like the NFT craze or cryptocurrencies is just a symptom of the fact that like nobody could afford to do anything. Like they want to have a life that's just like kind of the traditional American life, and it's just not even an option. So they're willing to spend their life savings on a monkey image or
Right.
like or whatever else is the hot item. And
Yeah.
it's pretty sad state of affairs.
It's crazy, and maybe some of it's cool, I guess. Like, yes, some of them like buy you exclusive. It's like a club. You can like then go on a yacht. I'm like, I don't really want to go on a yacht that bad. And then I don't know, dude, where are our goals at? There's a lot of stuff I can't control. Basically, it's things I can't control, and I got to realize, like, bro, I can't control these things, man. I can barely. This pandemic taught me anything, bro. I can barely control the 6 feet in front of me. So maybe I can just try to do that. Like, how am I going to tell anyone what they want to put in their body or on their face when like I know I shouldn't eat steak and eggs because it's bad for my heart, but I love it, baby, and I'm gonna order it. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
so it's just wild, but it's so funny, dude. Like my buddy owns these NFTs. He like, and he laughs about it too. He's a really funny guy. He's like, look at my fox, bro. Look at my bull, bro. And they're just these stupidest. And dude, there's like, I think people just need that inspiration or energy or like a new market, and it feels like a frontier. Maybe cannabis was like this a little while back,
Mhm.
the cannabis industry when it got legalized, but it's like, I don't know, you want to be a business owner and maybe it feels independent. And I don't fully understand it, so I can't hate on it that much. But it's like, dude, someone pitched an NFT to me. They're like, bro, get in on the ground floor, dude. It's I don't even know what the image was. And they're like, just give us 200, give me $200, bro. And here's the idea. We have an NFT. It's sick. It's like a fucking, lizard or something. And but the
With
idea is,
sunglasses.
yeah, exactly. It's Geico, dude. And now I have insurance. We already had insurance. And dude, they're like, yeah, dude. And then you get this NFT. And what's cool is once you do that, then you can buy our protein powders. And I'm like, dude, you've literally taken a pyramid scheme and then put it on top of a pyramid scheme. And I was like, wait, why? Why would you ever limit your market space? Why would you limit being able to sell your protein powder unless you have a product that is like impossible to recreate? Which protein powder? There's a million of them, and
Yeah.
so like, and that's what makes me laugh about NFTs is like little screenshots. I'm like, I have your Bored Ape, like I have it.
Yeah. And
Sure, I can't go on your yacht, but also I have friends.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what people need. And it's important to have friends, man. Most important thing in the world.
Yeah. And like it's funny that you mentioned like the yacht thing, because it's like I actually would like to go on a yacht. I think a yacht would be really cool, but I certainly wouldn't want to go on a yacht with a bunch of people who collect these really expensive NFTs.
Yeah, dude, that's a great point, bro. You're trapped on a boat with these people. If I'm on a
Yeah.
boat, I want to be there with some cool people, my buddies, maybe a few ladies, no big deal, and for the single guys in my crew down in Cabo having fun, not fishing, not into fishing, dude. And yeah, that sounds sick. So it's who you're with, man. Shared experiences. I guess that's what it all comes down to. The
Yeah.
one true currency, bro, is time, you know.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's a great point. That's like what this entire theme of the podcast is. So I'd love to touch on that in a sec here, but I just wanted to tell you the funny thing about the boat thing is I actually had a boat experience recently, which was and it kind of brought that epiphany about NFTs and the yacht thing. But I had a work event. It was like, I started this job like a year ago. I'm not going to say the company, but essentially they were like, we're gonna get everybody together. We're gonna go on a boat. It's like a 3-story boat, open bar. And I was like, this sounds sick. And I went and I got there and was like, I don't know anybody here. Why did I come? And like, as I'm having these thoughts, I'm turning away. We're like pulling out of harbor. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm going to be here for the next 3 hours.
Right.
These strangers. And those are like coworkers who are like, honestly, pretty cool. Like, I don't just imagine that they'd be the same situation for a bunch of like NFT collectors. But at the same time, I heard the Strokes did play at that. So that's pretty sick.
That's dope. But that's a concert. Maybe, dude, I feel like it's a new way of just like creating exclusivity for event. Like, I don't know, people like to feel exclusive, like to feel, and I feel like it's just kind of maybe adding that. I guess some of the cool NFTs are ones that like combine album art with like actual music to it. That's maybe new or something.
Yeah.
That would sound cool. But yeah, it'd be sick to see the Strokes, bro. I'd be fired up on that.
Yeah, actually, and I saw them at Outlands last year, so it wasn't even like a huge FOMO thing. But I actually wanted to expand on. There's 2 things that you said that I really liked, which was during the pandemic, you started focusing on only what you can control. That is like one of the biggest solutions for my own personal anxiety was like that revelation that like it's one thing to understand it on like a conceptual level, but then to actually apply it to your life, I think is different. And then you also mentioned that time is the only true currency, which I really love. And I was hoping you could just maybe expand on what you meant by that, because I've never heard it phrased that way, but it's definitely something I wrote down, and then I'm gonna find a way to remember it.
For me, it means probably just kicking it with your boys, your girl, your dog, having fun. It's like, look, you get out of bed, you got to go to work, you got to pay your bills. 8 hours a day, maybe 40 hours a week, depending on what you're doing. So you're doing that, you're spending time from your life to make money to pay bills that will then hopefully, the choices you're making with that money, and you want to tuck some away, buy a house, but it's also like, what are the experiences that you're having and who are you spending it with? Because that's what matters, you know what I mean? And it's like, you want to make sure the relationships in your life that it takes effort sometimes, and I've got siblings and seeing how those relationships evolve and and they're a link to my past, and we have so much shared time. So we're creating new memories together, and just realizing like, especially being in LA, dude, like where you're like, it's literally a time sucking vortex. Maybe realize this, where like you're in traffic for 2 hours to like go hang out at a friend's, or like get together to watch a TV show or have some pizza. And it's like, and you can talk yourself out of that so much, but then you're like, dude, maybe I gotta go do that because we're all here, we're all chilling. And of course, there's nothing wrong with staying home some nights. You're tired, stay in, chill, treat yourself right, draw a bath, light a candle. And, but yeah, I think it just means spending time with people you like and doing what you like,
Yeah.
But also not neglecting and being too fanciful about it, where it's like, then you can get some people who are like, I'm not going to work. Sorry, I'm not showing up today. It's my birthday. It's like, well, all right, dude, you still got to show up and have agency.
Yeah.
Just finding that balance.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think because especially because you and me are probably like people that spend a lot of time working to some degree. Like even if it's not, maybe we're not getting paid for it, we're still putting time to do something that we will hope will bring something into our lives. So like those type of people kind of frustrate me, because it's like, okay, but you can't do nothing. And maybe you can, but like, then you certainly don't deserve a beach house. And I feel like most of those people are like, yeah, I don't want to do anything, but I want everything. I was like, you can't have
Right.
both.
Yeah,
But
exactly, dude. And you got to be not afraid to make the change, man. If you're hating your job, it's tough to leave. It's tough to do that. You take risks. Um, but also at the same time, what can you do to make your day a little bit brighter? Is there some habit that you could switch or do something? It's not easy, but I think everyone struggles with it.
yeah, big time. And like, I think it's like, to your point, I think it's really, I hesitate to give advice on like career a lot of times just because it's like it's always so subjective. But at the same time, like your career really does play into your mental health. So I feel like it's a necessity. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't need to if you really are unhappy with your career and what it takes from your life, then I don't think there's anything wrong with exploring a different path. Like I did entertainment. I went to film school and
Nice.
then I like wanted to produce and write, but like was focusing on doing producing. I got like a kick-ass internship and was like working. And I was like, I hate this. Like I hate working
Right.
with all these really difficult people
Dude,
who have
yeah.
these huge egos. And I'm like, I'm just not like a part of like my career. Like I take my career seriously, but like in my own personal life, like I try not to have an ego. I try to like be like a better person. And I felt like I couldn't, those two lives couldn't exist at the same time.
Yeah, it's tough, man, especially Hollywood, a lot of egos, a lot of people in TV think they're very important.
Dude, it's crazy.
Dude, it's nuts, bro. I'm like, no, dude.
Yeah.
My mechanic's more important than you, dude. Like, you get me here, and mechanics are beasts, dude. It's
Yeah.
crazy, dude. Drive these cars around. I don't know what the hell I'm doing or how the hell they even work it, dude.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's tough, dude. It's tough, but you gotta, make the change. But change is hard, and it's always going to be uncomfortable at first. It's hard
Mhm.
to Nate. Um, I fear it. I probably stayed at. I'm still at valet. Maybe I left for a little while, went back, um, and didn't love doing that. But it's also great. Now I'm back. I'm having fun, and I like the guys there. Every time I go in, I'm like, look, dude, I get to be outside. I'm grateful for the job. I get a working meal. I'm like, this is cool. It's cool. And then it
Mhm.
facilitates something creative that I can go do. So yeah, it's just tough. And
Yeah.
maybe other careers can't do that. But I think, look, no matter what career you are, dude, if you just get jacked and wear leather around all the time, then you're probably going to be stoked. If you should just wear a knife on your hip,
Mm.
a long blade, you know,
What about like a
that's going to
katana?
just
Is that
feel
too
good.
much?
I mean, look, like, how you like usually like when you see the stores and the katanas, it's like
Yeah.
there's like the long one, the really small one, and the medium one.
Yeah.
I feel like middle porridge that. I feel like you get your Goldilocks katana that you can cruise around.
Yeah.
Cruise around.
I like the knife. It's funny. I actually have thought about this before. I have a theory that like swords are like the one thing that's like super cool until you own one. And it's like immediately not cool. Like,
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Yeah, swords are badass, but then if you see a dude with a sword, you're like, that's a nerd.
yeah, it's weird, right?
Why is that? No, if you have a sword, that's badass.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah,
watched
dude,
the
it's
last
funny.
last duel. And I was like, these guys, plot aside, I was like, these guys are badasses. They're like fighting with these swords. This is sick. And then I'm
Right.
like, maybe I should get a sword. And I was like, don't be a fucking loser, man. Don't get a
I
sword.
know. Dude, Johnny, that's a genius revelation, dude. I really like that.
Yeah.
And you know what? There was a guy wielding a sword. I think he uses it for exercise, which is lame, dude. With a dumbbell, dude. No, which is sick. He's just like doing like sword movements. My dog was barking at him. And then immediately I was like, that guy's weird. But that's sick though. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
cool. He's got a sword.
Yeah, dude. And I also like I see on TikTok sometimes like dude, like jacked dudes, katana, they'll do a backflip, unsheath the sword, land on their feet with a sword drawn. And it's like they're jacked, they have a sword, and they're doing backflips. Three objectively super cool things. But the
You know what
sword,
you need to
it
have?
brings it down.
You got to have like a girlfriend being like, okay, action in the beginning, and then it's okay. Because we're
Yeah.
immediately like, this dude's got no girlfriend. And then if you do hear a female voice, you're like, that's his mom. You kind of got to have a girlfriend in frame. That's like why magicians have assistants, I think, dude.
Mm.
The whole reason magicians have assistants as ladies, dude, because it's like, look, we have sex. I'm weird. I have weird magic sex. It's understood. Like if it was just a magician just doing tricks alone, That's sad, dude. That's a dude who like comes up to you at dinner when you're on vacation. You're like, hey, I see you have a kid and you wanted me to do magic tricks. I'm like, I don't want to touch anything that you've got, dude.
Yeah, magic's another one of those things where it's like cool until you do it. It's like Gandalf, super cool. Harry Potter, super cool.
Smart.
Name it. But then, like, as soon as somebody's like, "Hey, you want to see magic trick?" Like, get the fuck away from me, dude. I don't want to see magic
Yeah.
trick.
Yeah. No, I don't want to see your magic. Get out of here now. Yeah.
Yeah. Like David Blaine is like the only cool magician that I've ever seen, and he has to like stick a hand through his needle through his hand like every other week just to stay
And he's
cool.
pretty jacked. Yeah, exactly.
And he's jacked.
Gotta really do some gnarly stuff. You know who else was jacked? This circled on Instagram a little while. Houdini had jacked leg. I like that.
Oh, did he? I like it too.
He was kind of shredded. That made me stoked.
Yeah. But I heard didn't he die because he took like a sudden hit to the abdomen and it killed him or something like that. I could be wrong.
That's how he went down, dude. Honestly, that's not a bad way to go, dude. You know, you're talking about how we're all gonna die. You die some way sick, that's cool, you know. Old age is comfortable and nice. I'm not gonna hate on that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, if you go skydiving, you know, if you're wrestling, like if you're an old dude and you're just tired, I'm like, look, I'm just gonna go get on a motorcycle real quick, go through the desert, bomb it. No one's ever gonna see me again. Cool.
That's badass. That's super badass.
That's sick as hell.
Or like you see like those guys that go down the Niagara Falls in the barrel, and you're like, I can't even knock it. It's badass. It's a good way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. What am I gonna do? Be in bed?
Yeah. It's for losers.
I'm gonna pay a lot of people to get me in that barrel and throw me over.
Yeah. Dying in bed.
Good money that I've saved, that I've earned from my NFTs to have someone do that, dude.
Yeah, dude. Dying in bed, that's for guys with swords.
Yeah, exactly. What am I, a nerd, dude? Oh, give me my sword. Oh.
Although if you die by a sword, it's still badass.
Although, yeah, that would be kind of like an old dude with a sword in bed. Just
like Last Samurai style.
Bro, one of the best movies of all time. Let's go.
Okay. I know we're coming up on time here. I said I would get you for like an hour here. By the way, I just want to be sensitive. Are you cool on like what do you have to get cut off? Do you have anything going on after this or anything like that?
No, I'm chilling, dude. We can go for a little bit more. That's all good.
All right, cool.
Chilling, dude.
I just wanted to ask, just bringing you back to the theme of the podcast a little bit. You mentioned that you did struggle with anxiety a little bit before. So I'm just kind of curious what that looks like for you and if you have any tips for how you manage it.
I think for me, it just mainly like, it's tough to recognize sometimes. So you'll be like, oh, dude, I'm being, so that's trick number one. I didn't even know. And then I think like, dude, honestly, maybe having my dank fiance can help me point it out too. She'll be like, oh, you're like doing this. Or she's like, what's going on? Like even just asking a simple question of like, hey, what's the deal? Or you seem off. And I'll be like, whoa, okay. Then thinking about that more. And it's like, oh, usually it's anxious. Usually it's like one of my good buddies, Ross, calls it future tripping, dude. You know, you'll start thinking too far down the road and you're like, bro, you're future tripping, dog. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then you're just like, well, what is this and this and this means that? And then that, and you're like, dude, just all right, just relax. You're just going to go do your thing tomorrow or whatever, and you'll get past that. So, and this goes into my control because I'm, you know, I hustle and do a few different gigs. So I find a lot of anxiety for me comes from just scheduling, of being like, well, damn, now I got to request that off, or damn, I got to do that. And it's like a wedding will come up. I'm like, I can't go to that wedding. And it's like, well, I just need to communicate, you know. And I find like, I use a lot of avoidance tactics. That's what it looks like for me. I want to avoid that confrontation or uncomfortability. Probably comes back to wanting to be liked. So being okay with that little bit of confrontation and finding a way to, without like, you know, of course, honor your emotions of whatever you're feeling, but not like exacting those on somebody, but like being like, yo, dude, like, hey, I can't come into work on this time. I have this thing going on, and just having that conversation and then hearing whatever the other opinion. Well, okay, this guy's out of town, and then can you split this day or whatever? And there's usually a way around it. Sometimes you get stuck, you get boned, but and not letting it sit so long. Sometimes I'll let it sit. Even sometimes I'll have a meeting and I'm like, or a call scheduled, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that call. And then literally if I text them like, hey man, can we just reschedule that call? Usually like, yeah, fine, no problem. Like, okay, of course, you know what I mean? So not letting stuff loom so much, dealing with it in the moment, getting past it, and just communicating with recognizing it in myself first, but typically what I do is let stuff linger too much or avoid stuff. And then also hopefully I can ignore it and it goes away, which we all know is never a
Yeah.
win thing, except with health.
Yeah. Dude, I relate to that so much, especially with like you like letting stuff linger. Cause like, dude, I'm a really bad communicator too. So like sometimes I'm like, oh, I should respond to this or I should get ahead of this thing. And then I don't. And then like the more that you wait, like the worse things get. And I don't
Right.
know why I haven't figured it out yet, but I think there must be something in our brains that's like, it'll solve itself.
Dude, I know, bro. I'm always like waiting on the other person to cancel or like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that'll go away. It's like, what? No.
Yeah. You're
Nothing's
just going
go
to
away.
piss somebody off because he waited too long. And then,
Yes.
yeah. And
Yes.
then, but I like the future tripping a lot.
Yes,
Like
my
maybe
buddy
circling
Ross.
back to that. Yeah. Shout out to Roz. And then, but the tough to recognize part, I especially resonate with because I think like I didn't like know I was an anxious person for the longest time. I always thought that I was like an overthinker, like because I like I consider myself not to like brag or anything. I always thought I was like a fairly smart guy, and I was just like, oh well, this is just a product of that. Like I'm just an overthinker. That's just like the way my brain's wired. And it's like, no, dude, you're anxious as fuck right now, and you need to figure out a way to deal with that. And so like a lot of did a lot of work on that, and I feel like I'm in a much better place. But like, dude, it's like just being able to recognize the fact that you're feeling these ways, I think is like a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah, it helps. It helps, having someone, I live with too, be like, hey man, what's going on with you, bro? Uh,
Yeah.
why are you being quiet, dude? Were you sharing a meal together? Okay, well, what's bothering? Oh, then I talk about it. Then you feel better. You communicated about it, right?
Yeah.
Can't bury stuff deep down, expect it to go away, which is like total guy cliche stuff, just deal with it, go to work, punch in, that'll solve
Yeah.
it. Like, no, you got to talk these things out and deal with this stuff, dude. Um, Also, dude, blazing, bro. I never liked smoking weed, dude. I like a nice IPA, dude. But
Mhm.
yeah, if I smoke weed, I never really enjoy it. I just get especially stuff too strong now. If it's like really mellow, I'll have fun. But
Mhm.
yeah, dude, I'll like blazing. I'll get really anxious. I'm like, you, even I'm smoking with all my best buddies. I'm like, hey, you guys all like me and stuff, right? Like we're cool. They're like, yeah, just relax, bro. When we see Spider-Man, I'm like, it's all good.
So you're saying like just being conscious of the blazing and like the effects that it has on you?
Yeah, I think I just have no chill. I think I'm like a pretty chill
Yeah.
guy. I think I'm the least chill guy. Like I'm a very intense guy. I think I have lots of intensity. I think default level of intensity, like even with my entertainment, I'm like, does my entertainment have a purpose? Like, nah, bro, just go sit being entertained. What's wrong with me? You know what I mean? Just chill, dude.
Yeah.
Um, but so I think just knowing that, maybe that's why I like to laugh a lot, do that levity attracts me to humor. I mean, yeah, I like watching funny shit.
Yeah. It's hard to be anxious when you're having a good time and laughing. So like that makes a lot of sense. And
Mhm.
it's cool to be able to provide that experience for other people. I like to go to the comedy shows in the area. So I'd love to come to yours one of these days. But
Oh,
yeah,
hell yeah, dude.
just like being able to have a few drinks, relax, have someone be funny or even unfunny. Sometimes when they bomb, it could be kind of funny too. Just like being in that environment and being able to take yourself into a place that like, you're maybe not gonna feel anxious is helpful.
Yeah, exactly. There are things you can do, steps you can take.
Yeah. And then the future tripping part, just like circling back to that, I think I might be misquoting this. Usually I'm not doing videos, so I can like Google stuff while I'm talking to people. But I think it was Mark Twain that was like, I've suffered like a thousand deaths, and most of them never happened, or something like that, which is like
Nice.
basically saying that like I'm constantly thinking of ways that things are going to go wrong, but that usually never happens. And so like I think he was future tripping. And I think we all future trip
Mhm.
sometimes. But it's like back to what you're saying about just focusing on what you can control. It's like you can't control the future. And most of the circumstances that we worry about are not even like the part that we had to play in those circumstances. It's like anticipating how other people are going to react to us or how a situation is going to play out. And future tripping is
Totally.
not helpful in any way.
Totally, bro. Does not help. You make a plan on changing it. Of course, that doesn't mean you shouldn't prep, do your due diligence, control what you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your attitude, your abilities, and go in there and just be able to roll with it, dude. That's why I love sports, dude. Have a game plan, but then you got to adapt.
Yeah. So you played volleyball. Do you watch any sports, or what kind of
Yeah, I
sports are you
love
interested in?
watching football and basketball mainly.
So you're
I
like
was
your guy, huh?
crushing the Winter Olympics. It was fun, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. I saw like, so I watched the Shaun White stuff because you have to kind of,
Yeah, that was
it's
sick.
less
Yeah.
run, right? But then
Uh,
I watched this one. So it was, I think it was after the Super Bowl where like there's like skiers that were like skiing and then like take out rifles and were like shooting shit. I was like, I did not know this
biathlon.
was even a sport. What's it called?
The biathlon.
The biathlon. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
That looks so sick. I had never seen that in my life. And then
Dude,
everyone was like leaving my apartment because I hosted, and then they saw them on TV. And then everyone just came back. We watched the rest of the biathlon. It's crazy.
hell yeah, dude. It's sick as hell. All these guys and even the girl like the fucking snot everywhere and just cruising in. And then they just snipe. Dude, it's so
Yeah,
sick.
dude. I don't know how they came up with that sport, but I think that's cool. So
I know, dude. That's what I like. It seems functional. Feels like, the ancient winter games, dude. They would do some stuff. It was wrestling. It was running. It was sort of, all these city states going at it. And there's always like nationalism to it, right? And who's going to be the best battler, dude. They even had like an event, I forget what it was called, where like you would race in full armor sometimes too, as opposed to just nude, which a lot of the games were nude.
yeah.
And but then that biathlon on one seems like pretty, winter warrior style. I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You could see a
definitely.
dude with a rifle cruising around Norway or somewhere on the, who knows, Ukraine, Russia border, what's going on with that right now. It's nuts,
Yeah.
dude. But that seems sick. I don't know how curling is really exactly fits into that militaristic.
Yeah.
But it's sick to watch curling. I do like it.
You like curling?
It's kind of fun. I can watch a little bit of it before I go to bed.
Okay, that's fair. That's
That'll,
fair.
that'll calm the dome down, dude. You'll be like, all right, dude. Okay.
Yeah,
No.
okay. I had my fill of this. I feel that. That's
You know
cool.
what's good about curling? What I like kind of, there's no narrator. There's no host.
Oh, I
You
didn't
just
even
kind
notice
of hear the
that.
athletes talk. I think that's what the trick is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No one's like, okay, now they need this here, which I feel like I could use a little bit of that because I really don't know. I'm like, all I know is like maybe they're trying to get it closest, but it's cool to hear the athletes communicate with each other. And sometimes they'll say fuck, and that's cool.
Yeah, dude, that's always a cool word, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody say that word that wasn't cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unless
at
they
least a little bit cool.
if
Unless it
they
was
cut
like
themselves
abusive.
with a sword and said fuck, then I'd be like, oh, you nerd.
Of
Get out of
course.
here, bro.
Right, Strider, dude. This is awesome, man. Last question for you. I just asked this to everybody. If you could give your younger version of yourself advice, what advice would you give them?
I would say, never change, just grow, dude. And what that means is just, I kind of like that. I'm lucky in that I know that I like to pursue a career in comedy. And maybe I would say, get some better insoles for your feet. Take care of those knees. Once the feet go, they all start to go. And then, yeah, man, that's all I would say. And then honestly, you know what else I'd say? Save some more dough. I should have started saving dough earlier.
Yeah.
Listeners, get a Roth IRA. Even if you put $500 in it, doesn't need to be anything. Whatever you were gonna do to invest in a friggin' shark NFT, just put it in there a little bit. 40-year-old, 60-year-old you is gonna thank you. And do as much as you can. Because I really didn't start saving until later. Honestly, my dank ass fiance was a good influence. She's like, "How much are you saving?" I was like, "0." She's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll just do that when I wait and make more money later in my life." She's like, "No,
That's not
you're
gonna
trying to be a
fly.
comedian. You will probably never do that, but I still love you. Start saving money." I was like, "All right, all right." I'll do that. And then I'd say stretch, man. Stretch, dude. I need to stretch more. I love lifting weights. I love exercising. Save, stretch, freaking chill.
Yeah. But never change.
Yeah,
Never
never
stop
change,
growing.
bro.
What
Just
was it?
grow, dude.
Just grow. Love that actually.
Yeah.
Love that a lot.
So
Yeah. I'm gonna
sort
be
of
thinking about that.
oxymoronic, but it's chill.
No, but it makes, it's like contextually makes sense. It's like yeah, it's like exactly what you're doing. I think you're a good example of that, where it's like, and like, you know that you want to do comedy and you're just going to pursue it, but you're going to still change things about yourself and try to become a more complete person in the process. And I think that's fantastic.
Dude, very well put, dude. And maybe I'm thinking of this dude that I know. His name was Aaron, then he changed it to Jake and really got into like Corvettes, which is sick. But I'm like, he totally reinvented himself. And I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe that works on a hard restart. But I think the most of us, it's like, if you want to be into Corvettes, just, dude, it's cool if Aaron's into them. You don't need to become Jake.
Yeah. I mean, you could do like a kind of like, I think you can do like a partial restart when you get to college. I think that's like the one time in life where you kind of reset a little bit, change your identity. But after that, you're kind of set. Like,
Yeah, dude. And before that, I'm not judging. Dude, we're all sociopaths. Obviously, you can do criminal stuff, and I'm going to judge you, and don't
yeah,
do that. But like, dude, we're all looking for experiences that are all me first experiences in those ages. And I think like literally until you're 25, you don't start empathizing very well. I think like the part of your brain that controls. I think you're like thinking like mainly from emotions instead of like primarily logic, which you start to do after 25, which I think is when you start realizing I will die soon. Because
yeah,
before that, you're like, I'm gonna live forever.
yeah. You kind of have like a narcissism, and then once you hit like, I agree with you. Like once you hit like I think
So,
your mid 20s, you kind of start exiting that Kanye stage of life and start
dude, except
thinking of
bro,
other
Kanye,
people.
dude. Yeah, dude, Antonio Brown, Kanye stage, dude, freaking just, yeah, bro.
Cool, man. Well, I really appreciate having you on, man. Do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you if they're looking for you on the internet?
Hell yeah, dude. Strider Shreds all day on Instagram. I started a Patreon, dude. Just Strider Wilson on Patreon. Come see me. What up? And yeah, dude. Mainly on Instagram. History is Dank podcast. And thanks for having me, dude. This was a blast, man. Thanks for the convo. It was fun, dude.
Of course. And I'd love to have you back one of these days if we can find some
Down,
time to do it. I know you're a busy guy, but love to.
dude. I'd be down, bro. And thanks for making it easy on Zoom too, dude. This was nice. I discovered silver lining of the pandemic, dude. We got Zoom now.
Dude, seems great, isn't it?
So sick.
Yeah, first Zoom interview too. So thank you again for that too.
Honored.